we should be careful not to look down on people, not to take the grace of God for granted, not to downgrade people because you do not know whom and where God is acting. My dear friends, good morning and welcome to this Sunday's reflection. Today is the 14th Sunday in Ordinary Time. The theme for our reflection today is, You are greater than what people think. In the first reading of today, we are presented with the prophet Ezekiel in Ezekiel chapter 2 from verse 2 to 5. A mere human being called by God to be a prophet, to be his postman, to be his mouthpiece. A mere human being. And Ezekiel was sent to the rebellious house of Israel to turn away from their ways. In the second reading of today, from the second letter of St. Paul to the Corinthians, chapter 12, from verse 7 through to 10, St. Paul tells us that there is power in weakness. From his own experience, coming before the Lord to express his weaknesses and his disadvantages, the Lord told him that the grace of God was sufficient for him and that his power is made manifest even in weakness. Hence, though human being in his imperfection and weaknesses, there is something greater than humanness within him, St. Paul. He has that power of transcendence. The same thing with the prophet Ezekiel. God has raised him beyond that human level. And we come to the gospel of today from the gospel of St. Mark chapter 6 from verse 1 to 6. We are presented with Jesus in his own hometown and being confronted by his own people who did not believe him, who did not accept him. Why? Because they say, we know him. Is he not a carpenter? Is he not Mary's son, Joseph's son? This boy that just grew up in our midst, how can he and where does he get all this? And they failed to believe in him. And it was to their own disadvantage. They refused to see the power of God within Jesus. They refused to accept that there was something more than the human being before them, that he had that power of transcendence, that there is a power within him. The message, therefore, for you and I on this special Sunday, my brothers and sisters, is that we should be careful not to look down on people, not to take the grace of God for granted, not to downgrade people because you do not know whom and where God is acting. Just like the people of Nazareth rejected Jesus and refused to see the power of God within him. You and I also have this power of transcendence. In our weaknesses, in our humanness, in our imperfection, God's power can still come out great within our lives, only if we submit to him. We see in the life of saints who started badly, but who turned out to be heroic. St. Francis of Assisi was born and baptized with the name Giovanni, and growing up as a playboy, going around with his fellow youth and partying around. But after a while, Francis experienced through a dream the power of God, and the young man who used to party around, who used to be a playboy, became one who embraced lepers, who now became the instrument of reformation and in the church of his own time. And so, my brothers and sisters, the gospel of today is teaching us a big lesson from the connection and the relationship between Jesus and the people of Nazareth. You and I have that power of transcendence, of greatness within us. Let us bow low. Let us humble ourselves before the Lord and let that greatness come out. And secondly, never look down on anyone. Do not look at someone as not having that power within him, because God can use anyone. God can touch anyone. You do not know the greatness of someone. When St. John the Baptist was born, the people who came around for his naming ceremony, the Bible tells us that they wondered what this child would turn around to be. And so, as we celebrate this holy day, let us go down before the Lord on our knees, recognizing our weaknesses like St. Paul and our imperfection, so that the power of God, so that the greatness that God has made us to possess will truly manifest in our lives and in the world. May God bless you. Happy Sunday.